joined by Tewodros Ashenafi, who's the founder, chairman, and chief executive officer of Southwest Energy in Ethiopia. Thanks for coming along.
Thank you.
So Tewodros, tell us about Southwest Energy. It's a company you founded in 2005 by yourself. Tell us a little bit about your background leading up to that. What was the idea that made you want to get into an oil gas, start a company?
Yes. Well, at that time, if you recall, the oil prices were not very high, and Ethiopia was not thought about as an oil and gas destination. And essentially, when I went back to the country, I thought that there would be an opportunity in oil and gas. The country is surrounded by oil and gas, and I thought, well, it can't be a big hole here, and that's how we started the company.
And did you have backers for that, or how was walk through the process of starting up a company from scratch in Ethiopia? What kind of challenge was that?
I think there were a number of challenges. First of all, it was getting investors, private equity backed investors to understand or imagine that there's oil and gas potential in Ethiopia. Again, at that time, East Africa was not the hot spot that it is now. We have 46,000 square kilometers now, which is 1.5 times the size of the country of Holland. So we are the top 5 net acreage owners in East Africa, and very, very interesting and attractive portfolio of assets.
So let's talk about your portfolio. What kind of blocks have you got, and what kind of maybe a little bit about the geology of it and what you're hoping to find under there?
Yeah, certainly on our eastern side of the blocks, in our Jijiga blocks, if you recall your geology, 200 million years ago when the continents were together, you had the Arabian Peninsula and the Horn of Africa were together, of course, and the rocks that were deposited in places such as Yemen were also deposited in our blocks. So it's going to be a similar type of geology. And on the western side, we have the Gambela blocks, which is an extension of the South Sudan Malut Basin. So very interesting and prolific potential there.
And so, given that, why do you think it is that Ethiopia has been so underexplored over these years?
Yeah. Well, 1974 there was gas found in Ethiopia by Tenneco, which is an American company. So, and then you had communism come in 1974. So, you had Ethiopia taken out of kind of the Western oil and gas interest orbit, and it's not until the early 90s when the communist government left that interest came back into looking at this area.
Okay. And you talk about your blocks, the 46,000 square kilometers, was it? I mean, some of these blocks are the size of small countries in Europe, aren't they? Belgium. So we're not messing around here. Yes. Well, what do you do with a block like that? Are you shooting seismic across that, or what is the plan?
We've done a lot of geological work. We've shot FTG, which, as you might know, is essentially declassified U.S. Military technology. Was used to find stealth submarines. We were the first people to bring it to Ethiopia to use that technology and shoot on our blocks. We've done geochem, we've done 2D seismic, and we're ready to drill. So we have three drill ready targets ready to go. And we hope to be drilling our first well by the end of the year.
By the end of the year, good. I noticed on the presentation, it's important. You claim that this is going to be the first indigenous African company to open up a basin in their own country, which is a remarkable. When I read that, it's a remarkable fact, and yet that might be the case here.
Yes, it is. I mean, since 1859, when oil was found, with kind of modern drilling found in the United States, as far as we know, no other country has ever opened up a new basin, a new oil play, indigenously by their own people or by their own company. So hopefully, if we're lucky, we'll be the first ones to do it, and we're confident we'll be able to do it.
Last night, we heard from Jean-Claude Gander, of ADAX and of Oryx fame. He singled out, and he's a man who's spent his whole life in every country in Africa. He singled out Ethiopia in particular as being the crown jewel, the next thing to happen in Africa. Why do you think he said that? And he wasn't just talking about oil and gas, was he?
Yeah, I mean, I think if Jean-Claude is a person who started a company from scratch and sold it for nearly $7 billion. One ought to listen to a person like that. Clearly, Ethiopia is the second largest population in Africa. It's a big country and massive opportunity. Been growing for a 10 to 11% GDP growth rate, huge infrastructure development program, massive agribusiness potential, retail potential. So it's definitely a country that one ought to be involved in whatever manner, whether it's the oil and gas side, which has big potential, but also on the other consumer goods, agribusiness and mining, construction. There's a lot of things that one can be involved in.
Of course, Southwest Energy is a private company, so unfortunately we can't invest in that unless maybe some people here can. But do you have any plans to list on exchange, or does it suit you to be private?
Yeah, I think for the moment being private is the correct strategy for us, and certainly I think you would want to own shares if you could in Southwest Energy. But at some point we will obviously look at various options as we grow larger and as we discover oil and so on and so forth. So I think we're open to any possibility.
Well, before I let you go, Tewodros, first time at Oil Council Assembly?
Yes.
And how have you found it?
I thought it's been a fantastic forum. It's a right mix of industry players. You have the financial investors, you have the professionals and the bankers and the lawyers, and I think it's a perfect size. And I've been very impressed, and congratulations.
Tewodros, thank you for stopping by, and best of luck in the future.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.